This porch has been one of those projects that seems like it just takes forever to finish. When we bought the house, it had ugly green carpet on this porch, and we knew that had to go. Seems easy, right? Just rip up the carpet. No. We started this project over a year ago. Ripping out the carpet was pretty easy. It only took an hour or so. But what was left was a thick layer of mastic stuck to the concrete slab and woven in with the carpet backing. I tried to scrape up the carpet backing with a flat shovel, but it didn't really work. If I could get under a corner, I could rip up some of the larger pieces, like pulling out the carpet. I also tried pressure washing it, but that didn't really do anything either. It was clear I was going to need a different tool. I decided to just rent a concrete floor buffer from Lowe's with a grinding disc that was supposed to be designed for removing mastic like this. It did remove it, but it wasn't an easy job. I don't know if it was operator error or the machine wasn't set up correctly, but I really had to wrestle the thing around to keep it from trying to take off, and it was very easy to gouge too deep and leave a mark. The grinder removed the majority of the mastic and the carpet backing, but there was a fine line between gouging too deep and getting it all, so there was a good bit left behind, and I didn't get anything around the edge. We tried this Blue Bear mastic remover in conjunction with a scraper. It's a non-toxic remover made from soybeans, but it did a good job. It did leave some residue behind, but the pressure washer took care of that. The majority of the surface is relatively clean, but there's still some spots here and there, gouges from the floor grinder, and the edge against the house is pretty much untouched. We then got into other projects, and we're honestly kind of stumped on how to move forward and get this finished up. Ordered one of these 4-inch turbo grinding discs off of Amazon and decided to try that to see if that would get the stuff up all the way up against the house. I ran a test run with my cordless grinder, but then decided to pick up a cheap $20 grinder from Harbor Freight. The cordless grinder had a couple of issues. One, it was going to take a bunch of batteries to get this all through. It just was burning through the batteries. And two, because the battery doesn't allow you to get the disc all the way flush to the ground, I was kind of just running the point of the disc, and that doesn't work as well. With a regular corded grinder, there's no problem sitting this flush on the ground, and I found that that's a key important part of getting it nice and smooth, is keeping the disc flush. If you point it downward like I did initially with the cordless grinder, well, one, you end up wearing out just the tip of the disc, but two, you create gouging. It's easy for it to just dig in because you've got a very small surface. If you get the disc as flat as you can, it eliminates that gouging. I was also concerned about the dust wearing out the grinder, just getting in the motor and messing things up. That's why I just picked up a cheap one at Harbor Freight. But it's still going strong, and now I've got an extra grinder for shop projects. We're on our third night of grinding here on the porch. I've just kind of been approaching this about 1 hour or so every evening, working on it in the evenings after work. It's a good project to take that approach because honestly, after about an hour of grinding, you're getting pretty worn out and ready to quit. We've gotten this whole side done. We can get across the front door. Then all that'll be left will be wrapping around the side, and then we'll just have the actual face. They wrap the carpet around the edge of the concrete slab, so there's glue actually on the face of the concrete too that will have to get ground off. So we're done grinding all the way around. Even got the face along the front, ground off flush, kind of rounded the corner off. So our next step is going to be to take the shop vac here and clean up around the door and the edge. One trick that I use when dealing with dusty stuff like this, like concrete dust or drywall dust, I've got this filter and I've used this previously for a drywall project. I did blow this out with an air gun the best that I could, but it's still somewhat clogged up. And the really fine dust, like drywall dust, concrete dust, really clogs these up and it becomes almost impossible to clean out. But I save this filter, and whenever I'm going to do something like this, I swap it out and put it in, use it for the project, and then clean it out good with the air compressor when I'm done. It's not perfectly clean, but it's clean enough to allow enough airflow for the vacuum to work sufficiently well. The problem with using a clogged air filter is, well, one, it reduces the suction power of the vacuum, but two, if you use it for a long period of time, that can create additional heat because the vacuum motor is working harder and it'll reduce the life of the vacuum. So you don't want to use a clogged filter on a regular basis. That's why it is important to maintain your filters. But these filters aren't cheap, and if I did this vacuuming, it would ruin the filter for everyday use, and I would need to change out the filter because it's just impossible to get all of that cleaned out of the filter. Just the biggest thing to keep in mind is use it in small bursts and keep cleaning it out that way, because they do get clogged up really easily when you're vacuuming this kind of stuff. You don't want to cause damage to your vacuum. So it's been about a month and a half since we left off on this grinding project. When it originally started out, we were planning to resurface it with a refinishing product. But after looking at how it looks after just grinding off the carpet mastic, we're just gonna finish grinding over the whole surface. What's left has all been scraped. It's just gonna be a skim coat over the top. And then the whole thing should look like new concrete. Grinding's all done. Now it's time to wash. There's only one thing left to finish up this project, and that's a railing. There's about a 6-foot drop off right here, and there was a metal railing in this spot originally, which I took off to grind out in the mastic. I actually started painting that last fall and was going to reinstall it, but after some more thought, we decided to replace it with a new wood railing. That way we could tie that in around the whole porch. So that's going to be our next project, and I hope to see you back here then. Thanks so much for watching.